Right now, in your market, there are two types of flooring companies. There's the company spending 2, 3, 4 grand a month on Angi and Thumbtack, fighting over shared leads with 4 other contractors, and closing maybe 1 out of 10. And then there's the one getting exclusive leads that nobody else sees, closing 3 out of 10, and building a brand that the whole neighborhood recognizes. Same market, same budget, completely different results. And the gap between those companies comes down to one marketing channel and one system behind it that most flooring companies have never been shown. Now, if you've tried running Facebook ads in the past and thought it didn't work, stick with me on this one, because what I'm about to show you is probably not what you think. Let's start with what most flooring companies are doing right now to get leads. Because once you see how these platforms actually work, you'll understand why your close rate is stuck. We're gonna follow 2 companies throughout this video, Company A and Company B. Same market, same monthly budget, same quality work. Company A is doing what most flooring companies do. They're on Angi, they're on Thumbtack, maybe they've got a house profile. They're spending real money every month and leads are coming in. Sounds fine on the surface, but here's how those platforms actually work behind the scenes. A homeowner submits a request for a flooring quote, and that one lead gets blasted out to 4 or 5 companies at the same time. Every single one of those companies is paying for that lead, but only one of them is getting that job. So what does the homeowner do when 5 contractors are reaching out? They compare price. That's it. There's no way for you to show your quality and no way for them to see your reputation. You're just a name on a list next to 4 other names. You're a commodity and you're competing on price whether you want to or not. Even Houzz, which can attract higher end clients, you're still building their platform, not yours. Once you stop paying, it all disappears. So Company A is spending real money every month, fighting over shared leads, getting dragged into price wars, no matter how good their work is, and wondering why they can't grow past a certain point. But Company B is spending that exact same budget and getting leads no one else sees. And the difference comes down to one decision, the channel they chose. Let me show you what Company B figured out. There's a specific reason why flooring companies have an advantage on this platform that most other trades don't. And most flooring company owners have no idea this advantage even exists. Think about a billboard on a highway. Thousands of people drive by it every day, but most of them don't need new floors. They're not thinking about flooring, they're trying to get to work. Now imagine that billboard could pick itself up, walk into the specific neighborhoods where homeowners actually need new flooring and plant itself right in their living room while they're scrolling their phone at night. This is what meta ads do. You're not hoping the right person sees your message. You're putting your best work directly in front of the people most likely to need it. And every lead that comes in is yours alone. You control the messaging, the offer, and what type of homeowner you're attracting. You're not forced into a price war because you're the only company that homeowner's hearing from. But here's why this works so well specifically for flooring. Flooring is one of the most visual trades in all of home services. When someone gets a new roof, you can barely tell from the street. New plumbing is invisible, but when someone gets new floors, the entire room transforms. And that transformation is exactly the kind of content that stops people mid-scroll on Facebook and Instagram. Homeowners are already on these platforms, saving ideas, browsing before and afters, dreaming about redoing their kitchen or finally ripping out that old carpet. You just need to show up with your real work. A before and after photo from the same angle with good lighting, a shot of your crew on the job, or just pull out your phone, stand in front of a finished job and talk to the homeowner. You don't need a production crew. Phone content wins on this platform. So Company B chose Meta, where their best work sells itself, because flooring is one of the most visual trades that exists. But getting exclusive leads at a lower cost isn't even the biggest advantage of this channel. There's something else happening in the background that almost nobody tracks, and it might be worth more than the leads themselves. There's one thing Meta does that no other paid advertising platform can do. Not Google, not Angi, not Thumbtack. And it's the reason the real return on your ads is almost always higher than what your dashboard actually shows you. Meta is the only paid channel that generates leads and builds your brand at the same time. When you run ads on Angi, nobody remembers your company. On Thumbtack, 0 brand building. Even Google pay-per-click is just text on a screen. Nobody remembers who they clicked on. But on Meta, people see your face. They see your work, they see your trucks and your crew. And here's what happens. Someone sees your ad on Facebook on a Monday night and it doesn't do anything. But Thursday, when they're ready to get a quote, they Google your company name, check your reviews, and call you. In your CRM, that lead shows up as organic. But the reason they knew your name was your Meta ad. You just can't track it. That compounds every single day your ads are running. You're not just generating leads, you're becoming the flooring company everyone in your market recognizes. The referrals that seem to come out of nowhere, the homeowners who already know your name, a huge chunk of that is being quietly driven by Meta. And when you look at the math, cost per lead on Meta is lower than Google for home services. Pair that with flooring's average ticket of $4,000 to $10,000 a job, sometimes way more, and the numbers work out really well. But don't get obsessed with cost per lead. That's a vanity metric. What actually matters is your cost per booked appointment and your cost per closed job. You could get $5 leads that never convert, or $40 leads where half of them book and you're closing a solid percentage. That's a machine. Focus on what happens after the lead comes in, because that's where the real money is. So now company B isn't just getting exclusive leads. They're building a brand that the entire market recognizes. And the true ROI is way higher than any dashboard will ever show them. But here's the thing, I've seen flooring companies do everything I just described and still fail. Good ads, good content, leads coming in, and they still can't turn it into revenue. And the reason has nothing to do with the ads. If you've ever tried running Facebook or Meta ads for your flooring company and walked away thinking this doesn't work for my business, there's something you need to understand, because it almost certainly wasn't the ads that failed you. Meta leads are fundamentally different from Google leads. On Google, someone is actively searching for a flooring company, which is high intent. They want to talk to somebody right now. On Meta, you interrupted them. They were scrolling through their feed and your ad caught their eye. That before and after of old carpet being ripped out and beautiful new hardwood going in, and they stopped and filled out the form. But they weren't in active buying mode. They were interested, but they were sitting on the couch after a long day. The difference changes everything about how you handle these leads. Company A gets these leads and calls whenever they get a break between jobs. Maybe the next morning. By that point, the homeowner filled out that form at 9 o'clock at night, and by 10 the next morning, they're at work, they're busy, and they barely remember filling it out. Company A calls once, maybe sends a text, doesn't hear back, moves on. After a few weeks, they turn off the campaign and tell everyone Meta ads don't work for flooring. But the ads were fine. The leads were real. They were just being handled wrong. And this is the single biggest reason I see flooring companies fail with Meta. They set up a solid campaign, leads start coming in, and then they blow it on the back end. The companies that get the next part right close at roughly double the rate. Same leads, same ads, same spend. The only difference is what happens in the 60 seconds after that lead comes in. There is a specific system that separates flooring companies closing 1 out of 10 from flooring companies closing 3 out of 10. And most of your competitors will never build it. It starts with speed. You need a system that contacts the lead the second they submit the form. Not an hour later, not the next morning, the second it comes in. An automated call that connects directly to your sales team or to your phone. If they don't answer, an automatic voicemail drop and a text message goes out immediately. Something like, hey, this is Mike from Premier Flooring. Saw you were interested in getting a quote on new floors. When's a good time to chat? Then a nurture sequence that follows up multiple times over the next few days. Because people respond on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th follow-up all the time. It's not because they weren't interested. They were at work. They were busy with their kids. They forgot. Life happens. The company that follows up the most gives themselves the most chances to catch that person at the right moment. Most of your competitors will not do this. They'll call once, maybe text, and move on. That is a massive competitive advantage for you because you're gonna close jobs that every other flooring company in your market is leaving on the table. So let's come back to our two companies. Company A ran the same Meta ads, got the same leads, spent the same budget, but they called when they got around to it, followed up once or twice, and concluded the whole thing was a waste of money. Company B had this system from day one, automated speed to lead, instant follow-up, nurture sequence running in the background, same market, same spend, but completely different business. That's the full picture. It's not just about running Meta ads. It's the entire system, exclusive leads that only you see, visual content that stops the scroll because flooring is one of the most transformative trades there is, a brand that compounds every single day, and a back-end system that actually turns those leads into booked estimates and closed jobs. That is what Company B built. That is why they're scaling while Company A is stuck. And altogether, this is the #1 marketing channel for flooring companies in 2026. Now you know why this works and what needs to be in place behind it. But knowing the strategy and actually setting it up to produce real booked jobs are two different things. You need to know how much to spend, what offer to run, and how to build the lead form so it filters out tire kickers, and how to structure the ad so qualified homeowners are the ones requesting estimates. I break all of that down step by step in this video right here. Go watch that next.